Good afternoon, students. Today we will discuss graph and trees.
Now you can clearly see in the diagram that this is a graph given. Now why it is a graph? Because this is a diagram which is giving us some information. What information it is giving us? It is giving us the information that how we can travel from point A to B or B to C, C to D, or for that matter even from E to G, F to A, or in any direction. So basically this diagram which you can see in the video and even in your book is a graph because it is telling us information that how to travel from one point to another point. So this is a graph. Now this is one thing. Now can you recall what is a cycle? Okay, so let me tell you, a cycle is a loop. So what is a loop? Now tell me. So if you can recall that when in a given diagram, a path or you can say a line that goes from one point in such a way that it can come back to the same point, it forms a cycle. So now here you can see in the diagram, if you will closely observe point A. So if you will travel from point A to B to C to D to E to F to G, you are coming back again to point A. That means it is forming a cycle. So this particular graph is having a cycle. Now there's one more thing, a new term is being introduced, that is weighted graph. Now what is weighted graph? If in a graph you add more information to the edges like the distance or you can say the time needed to travel from one point to another point, it becomes a weighted graph. So for this diagram, if you say like from point A to B the distance is 10 kilometers and I add 10 here. From B to C the distance is 2 kilometers and I write 2 here. Then it becomes a weighted graph. So a simple graph and weighted graph, there is only one difference, that weighted graphs carry more information related to the graph. Now what are trees? You must have seen trees around you. So if you closely observe the trees, there is a base root of every tree, then it grows from it, then some branches come, on branches the leaves come. So the same way in computers, information can be represented through trees. Now what are trees? Trees are general diagrams in which the information can be classified into different categories. So basically in trees information is organized on the basis of two things, that is sequence and categorization. Sequence means kind of hierarchy, which is the main category, then subcategories like this, the root node, then the main node, then the sub nodes, and then categorization means all the nodes having same property, they will come under one category, and all other nodes having some other properties, they will be coming under another category. So here they have given you an example. Let's suppose we have to draw a tree diagram for types of disasters. So we can see the main root node is disaster. Disaster can further be classified into two categories, that is natural disaster and human made disaster. Further, natural disasters can be of four types: floods, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions and drought. And human made disasters can be of two types: nuclear disasters and chemical and biological disaster. So just with this example you can very clearly see that how a tree structure is made. Now there are 3 points that you need to take care for every tree structure, that is, each type of disaster can only belong to one category. So as I told you that in trees information should not be repeated. So all the nodes, all the items you can say in general having same kind of property will belong to one category, and all the other having some different properties, they will belong to another category. Further, they have given each category may have various subcategories. So we saw that natural and human made can have further subcategories. So a tree can go to any extent, okay? A subcategory, further categories like this, depending on the information, the trees can keep on increasing. So this is basically graphs and trees. Now, but there are some differences. There are some major differences between graphs and trees that we will see here one by one. Okay. So a graph has multiple ways to go from point A to point B. That means, as we saw in earlier video also, graphs can have cycles, okay? They can have loops. There can be more than one way to go from one point to another point. But trees are a special kind of graph in which there is no loop and there is only one way to go from one point to another point. So like here also you can say, like if I want to go from disaster to drought, okay, or from disaster to chemical and biological disaster. So there is only one path that I need to follow. But in graphs there are multiple paths for which we can travel from one place to another. Second difference, in graphs, no rules and restrictions are there for connecting the nodes through edges. Edges are basically how you connect 2 points. So let me show you. Okay, so this A to B is connected through an edge. Okay, A and B are the nodes and the particular line that is connecting A and B becomes AB edge. Similarly for BC, the line that is connecting B point and C point becomes its edge. So they are saying in graphs, no rules and restrictions are there for connecting nodes through edges. Like directly there can be an edge from A to E also. But in trees, there are rules to follow for connecting between nodes and through edges. Like we saw that there will be the particular type of nodes or elements can belong to only one category. So there are rules to be followed in trees. Thirdly, as I earlier also told you that a graph may contain a cycle or a loop, but a tree does not contain any loops because there is only one path to go from any one point to any other point. Lastly, all graphs are not trees, but you can very well understand that all trees are graphs because they are also the diagrams representing some information. So kindly read page number 44 and 45 yourself. Happy learning.